a call from Cathy Engelbert. Did y'all call Caitlin Clark? Did Cathy Engelbert go and address social media when Tiffany Hayes was inciting fans to physically harm her off the floor? Did y'all go and do this whole victimhood thing when Maisha Hines-Allen stood up for her Indiana Fever teammates in the first game versus the Phoenix Mercury, and she was called all type of coons and names online because of it? Did y'all do?
Pick a side. That's what this comes down to. Because what we're viewing here isn't simply a coach making a statement at a news conference. The choice of who should be protected and who should be left to fend for themselves is a deliberate one. And Stephanie White just made it crystal apparent where her loyalties lay. The question we must ask is straightforward. Do you defend your team supporters when your star athlete is singled out and faces real threats to her safety? Or do you join the pile-on? I detest foolishness.
And it is absolutely unacceptable. Most of this coming from the online community. Most of this, in my heart of hearts, I believe, not coming from WNBA fans, Indiana Fever fans. I believe that this is people who are using our league, using our players to further divisive agendas. It's not acceptable.
You might as well try to throw Caitlin Clark's name in there. It's very obvious what you're doing. It's very, very obvious what you're doing, and it's nasty. I'm disgusted with what you're doing right now. You have never once stood up for Caitlin Clark like this, besides that whole little fake podium rant you tried to go.
Let's examine the specifics of what transpired. Instead of discussing the real problems her team was facing, Stephanie White convened a news conference and lectured about racism and toxicity in the online community. But here's what makes this so calculated. She deliberately differentiated actual Indiana Fever supporters from what she called those utilizing our league to spread divisiveness. It's not a coincidence. That's a conscious effort to draw a line between the fans she likes and those she doesn't. You can probably guess which group made the most money this season. Can you guess which supporters packed those stadiums and raised TV ratings to all-time highs? These are the same people she is currently avoiding. Indeed, we must keep our players safe. We must keep helping the guys in our league. We have the opportunity to play hoops. And that was precisely accurate. For example, we get to play a game of basketball. Indeed, there will be criticism for it. Indeed, fans' love-hate relationship with players and teams will contribute to that. That will happen. But it's not hard to not be a jerk. And if you are one of these, y'all take everything. Take note of the words she's using in this passage. Inclusion is a key component of our league. The goal of our league is to uplift underprivileged areas. That's the exact issue. This is meant to be a professional basketball league where the top players compete at the greatest level. Instead, we are constantly hearing about activism, agendas, and everything but the game itself. Additionally, supporters are treated like outsiders when they go up merely to watch basketball or to cheer on a generational talent like Caitlin Clark. They are accused of being ignorant of the true values of the league, as if having exceptional basketball abilities somehow makes you a contributing factor. Booed her. The fans are unable to boo. Without you all sobbing and whining, the fans are powerless. But do you know what you guys do? The fans' new money is all yours. The fans gave Aaliyah Boston $6 million. Alyssa Thomas earns $1. $4 million this year from the fans. You want to cash the checks that Caitlin Clark's fans play, but you also want to constantly accuse them of racism and other offensive things. Here's where the hypocrisy gets impossible to ignore. Stephanie White is expecting that fans reach some unrealistic level of behavior. She is offended by cruel remarks made on social media by anonymous accounts with cartoon profile images. Let's discuss what she neglected to mention, though. Let's discuss Tiffany Hayes, who shared posts encouraging others to hurt Caitlin Clark off the court. At that time, where was this news conference? Where was the league office's indignation? When those threats were occurring, where was Cathy Engelbert when she called to inquire about player safety? You can't make everyone embrace that. Hey, this is meant to be a basketball league. You guys are attempting to change it. Additionally, anyone who isn't a part of it appears to be either an outsider or a member of the league. Despite being accepting of people from various walks of life, they appear to be regarded as outsiders. That is what our league has always been about from day one. Our league will keep doing it. This league has been an NBA charity league. also indicate that you want to throw Caitlin Clark fans under the bus. This has been and this trend continues recurring. Do you recall the first game against the Phoenix Mercury when Misha Hines-Allen defended her Indiana Fever teammates? She supported her squad, showed devotion to the organization that signed her, and got called every name in the book online. The kind of racist, horrible attacks that should have generated exactly the kind of response we're witnessing now. But there was silence, no press conferences, no league declarations, no coaches demanding better from the internet community. Because apparently, some players deserve protection and others don't. You know what's crazy? You guys are really talking nuts to each other over random accounts on X, Threads, or anything else that have Michael Jordan, SpongeBob, or Fred Flintstone as their profile picture. You people are upset over arbitrary profiles that follow 10,000 accounts but only have 4 followers. You're upset at these. All of this has to do with random Twitter identities talking nonsensically to you all. Let's explore what Stephanie White is truly saying here when she talks about toxicity and hate. She especially identifies the internet community as the root of the issue. However, what does that really mean? This indicates that she is focusing on the fans that interact on social media, post highlights, start discussions about the league, and generate the excitement that results in broadcast viewership and ticket sales. After years of poor attendance and scant media attention, these same supporters brought Indiana Fever back into the spotlight. However, they are now the adversary since they aren't acting in the exact manner that the league wants them to. Negativity fills the hole that results from a lack of communication, don't you think? It's crucial, in my opinion, to be able to communicate and to be the first to reach out. So, yes, I'm certain. Yes, I would have liked to hear from the league if I had been in that circumstance. We have no control over social media. You are aware of the steps we can take to reduce it. You know some of us are in better situation than others. You know, I think it's absurd that we didn't hear anything on social media when Tiffany Hayes was urging people to hurt Caitlin Clark. Consider the double standard that is being applied here. Stephanie White wants to lecture fans about their behavior while cashing checks that those same supporters made possible. This off-season, Aaliyah Boston received a $6 million contract deal. What was the source of that money? Alyssa Thomas is earning $1 thanks to the record-breaking money made by spectators attending Caitlin Clark's basketball game. This season's pay of $4 million is the highest in WNBA history. This is made feasible by sponsorships and television deals that are fueled by more viewing. But those fans best not boo the wrong player. They would best refrain from criticizing coaching choices. They better not have opinions that don't line with what the league considers acceptable. Otherwise, they're not actual fans. Put everything in place that we can, in my opinion, to support and assist, and then, from a human perspective, check on each other. Checking on one another is crucial too. Yes, Guy, Stephanie White disgusts me. White, Stephanie, lacks the capacity to provide Caitlin Clark with unwavering support. She really doesn't. At the end of the day, she's on the side of Alyssa Thomas's clear as day. Here's what actually reveals the motivation behind this claim. Stephanie White talks on the league being on the forefront of societal norms and continuing to promote marginalized communities. That's fine support whichever causes you choose. But when you make that the defining characteristic of your league, when you make it more significant than the basketball itself, you're going to alienate people who just want to watch sports. Instead of entertaining fans, you're going to create an atmosphere where they feel lectured. You then label such fans as toxic when they rebel or stop participating. Now let's connect this to the wider situation, because Stephanie White's press conference didn't happen in a vacuum. This came after Alyssa Thomas made comments about not hearing from the league office following some event. All of a sudden, players and coaches are lining up to discuss issues like poor communication, the need for safety, and the significance of helping athletes get through trying times. All legitimate worries, but this is the question that no one wants to address. Where was this energy for Caitlin Clark? When Caitlin was being physically targeted on the court, when she was dealing with egregious fouls that went well beyond typical basketball plays, and when she was being treated roughly in a way that would have led to an investigation in any other situation. Where were these coaches demanding better? Stephanie White didn't call a press conference then. She made no mention of the necessity of league intervention or player safety. She actually benched Caitlin several times during games, suggesting that perhaps things would improve if she just kept her head down and didn't cause any trouble. That's the basic problem with Stephanie White's approach to mentoring Caitlin Clark. She wants to have it both ways. She doesn't want to genuinely defend Caitlin, but she does want to reap the benefits of having a generational talent on her squad, including sold-out arenas, national television coverage, and a larger wage cap. She doesn't want to be the coach who says enough is enough when her top player is being treated unfairly. Rather, she reserves her moral outrage for protecting other players from hurtful tweets. Let's discuss what true leadership in this context entails. A true leader prioritizes the protection of all of their players, not just those who fit the desired narrative. You openly defend your star player when she is having difficulties, when she is being subjected to unheard of scrutiny, and when she is being physically targeted. You make it plain that you have her back. You don't hold off on speaking up till it's opportune or politically safe. When it matters most, you take action. Every time a dubious foul went uncalled, every time a blatant play was discounted or disregarded, and every time Caitlin was criticized for actions that other players regularly take without notice, Stephanie White had numerous chances to show that kind of leadership with Caitlin Clark. In those situations, a coach had the opportunity to say, "Not on my team," but she chose not to, and now she wants credit for her impassioned lecture about player protection? The hypocrisy is astonishing. For fans who genuinely care about the Indiana Fever's success, this is especially annoying. They are able to observe what is taking place. They see Stephanie White make coaching judgments that don't maximize Caitlin's influence. They observe the time she has the opportunity to protect her star player but decides not to. They see the behavioral pattern that raises the possibility that the coach isn't totally committed to developing her best player. Additionally, those supporters are branded as poisonous when they voice their dissatisfaction or disapproval. They are informed that they are not true fans. They get grouped in with anonymous trolls posting racist comments as if there's no difference between genuine criticism and actual hate speech. This is a silencing strategy that works incredibly well because it makes it nearly impossible to have open discussions about what's truly going on once you label any criticism as toxic or imply that fans who disagree with you are somehow contributing to a larger problem of racism, homophobia, or whatever other serious issue you want to invoke. Nobody wants to be accused of those things. So fans either stay silent or they get louder and more frustrated, which then gets used as evidence that they truly are the problem. But let's be honest about the true nature of this situation. Stephanie White is under duress. This season, the Indiana Fever did not live up to expectations. They had the Rookie of the Year, a generational talent who smashed records and sparked unprecedented interest in the league, yet they barely made the playoffs. That's not good coaching. The way the roster was put together seemed dubious. The attacking system didn't maximize Caitlin's strengths. The defensive systems left her exposed to relentless physical play, and when supporters pointed out these shortcomings, when they questioned if Stephanie White was the correct coach for this squad, she didn't answer by improving, she replied by attacking the fans. This press conference truly embodies that. Deflection is what it is. It's an attempt to flip the narrative from why didn't this team succeed with this much skill to look at how bad these supporters are. And it might work in the near term. The fact that a coach is speaking out against online toxicity may make for some great headlines, but it doesn't address the underlying issues with how she is leading this team and this star player. Think about the predicament this puts Caitlin Clark in. She can't publicly dispute with her coach. She can't say, truly, I wish you had defended me the way you're defending other players. She has to keep professional, has to maintain team unity, has to look like everything is normal, but the fans can sense it. They can see that their favorite player isn't getting the support she deserves from her own coach, and that creates resentment, not because fans are toxic or racist or any of the other accusations being thrown around, but because they care about Caitlin's success and they can see obstacles being placed in her path by the very people who should be clearing them. So where does this leave us? Stephanie White has made her opinion plain. She's more interested with regulating fan behavior and advancing league agendas than with actually developing her star player and winning basketball games. Instead of fostering an atmosphere where Caitlin Clark can flourish, she is more concerned in virtue signaling about inclusivity. And she's completely happy to put the supporters who made this season financially successful under the bus if it means deflecting criticism from her own coaching performance. What comes next is the question. Will Caitlin Clark play for a coach who doesn't completely support her for the next few years of her career? Does she squander her best years in a system that fails to make the most of her abilities? Or does she finally push for a change, either by asking for a trade or by seeing that the team needs new leadership in order to surround her with a championship contender. Because no one in the WNBA wants to accept this fact. Caitlin Clark has choices. Any team in the league would want her since she is so well-liked. She's talented enough that she could succeed in various systems. And if the Indiana Fever don't discover out how to properly support and utilize her, someone else will. The fans understand this. They see a generational talent being squandered, and it's infuriating. Not because they're toxic, not because they're bigoted, but because they recognize excellence, and they want to see it completely realized. Stephanie White may deliver all the press conferences she wants about online toxicity and league ideals and protecting players. But until she demonstrates the same zeal in genuinely protecting and supporting Caitlin Clark, until she proves that she's willing to the coach that this player needs, those statements ring hollow. Speeches are not as important as actions. Rhetoric is not as important as results. Additionally, the current results indicate that Caitlin Clark is deserving of better than what her head coach is providing. So keep this in mind the next time you hear Stephanie White discussing advocating for athletes, the value of communication, support, and safety. Remember that she had ample opportunities to exhibit such ideals with her own star player and decided not to. Recall that, except from the person who most needed it, she saved her fervent defense for everyone else. And consider whether this leadership is truly capable of leading the Indiana Fever to a championship. Because the answer is rather obvious from where the fans are seated.